Welcome to Creative Workforce Solutions Presents. And today I'd like to introduce Gwen Bailey-Rowe from the Newport City Career Center. And we got Kathy Lay from Weber. And I am Neil Morissette, Business Account Manager for Creative Workforce Solutions. And Kathy, we're going to let you get started.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you tell us a little bit about the Career Center and your position?
Sure. Sure. So in 2013, I was hired to be the Assistant Director for Adult Education. And what that means is basically I need to build relationships with local agencies. I need to reach out to the community and let them know what's available for adults at the Career Center. I need to be communicating with the Department of Labor and, pay attention to, what are employability gaps that we're experiencing in our region. And then I need to be talking with other career centers around the state too and say, what are you offering? How do you structure your curriculum? What qualifications do you look for in an instructor? So basically it's, kind of my job to coordinate the courses, release the information to the community in a timely manner, and find the instructors to teach the courses.
Been doing a great job at it.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely. Can you tell us how long you've been working with Creative Workforce Solutions?
Well, Creative Workforce Solutions, Neil and I knew each other a little bit before I started in this position, and then he said, hey, Gwen, you and I are going to work together, and I understand your job, Neil, being, to help people get to work. You know a lot about the employability gaps.
Well, I think the employers come to me a lot of times and say, boy, do I need, and then I come back and say, boy, do I have.
Yes, right. So we'll have conversations back and forth, and like the customer service and cash register training is a good example of what's going on right now in our community. We have more jobs, at Walmart, and, we still have jobs at Shaw's and Price Chopper and our drugstores, and people, sometimes just they're a little nervous about the idea of working in the public, working with cash registers. So this course was created in response to people like Neil and people at Voc Rehab coming to us and saying, can we get a course so people can, reduce their anxiety and feel confident enough to apply for a job? And we were so fortunate to find Roger Carty, who taught at the high school and Career Center for over 30 years. He was part of the DECA program. So he came in with just loads of curriculum and enthusiasm. He's done a great job. What we've done in this next winter session is we've added some hours for the actual hands-on cash register training. Because what we were finding out in the feedback from students and, partner agencies was, you guys are doing a great job with the customer service piece, but people want more time on the actual cash register. So I said, hey, Roger, didn't you used to work with Sue Burchard? And Sue recently did work at the Career Center, and she was in charge of the school store. So she's very familiar with the modern cash register, which is a point of sale system, much more kind of like a touch screen computer system that, I think actually people have anxiety about it, but it's probably, once you get into it, it's probably like learning to use an iPad or your new phone or whatever. It's probably less frightening once you get your hands involved. So anyway, Sue's going to come on, and we've lengthened the hours of the course slightly, and so like the first hour and a half will be Roger talking about customer service, and then it'll be Sue doing the cash register training. So far I think we have 2 people signed up, and we're hearing some positive feedback, like thank you for listening, and thank you for trying to improve this course.
And I think that's a really big thing is the listening. Anytime I've gone to you guys, it's been like, let's sit down and figure out what we can do. And it's always been a positive thing for sure. So we want to thank the Career Center and yourself for always working with us.
Is there anything coming up that we might want to know?
Yeah, there's actually, I brought a copy of our winter course brochure, which you might see around the community. We've worked on it's very simple. Like, let me just tell you, it's very simple. We produce it in-house, but we've tried to brand it so that people recognize it when they see it, in different locations. Also, all our courses are listed online, so you can go to the Career Center website, click on Adult Education, and you'll see what's currently being offered. I would say probably we have already sold out on our LNA course and our welding course. Those are the most popular, but that's understandable because they do have credentials that are associated with them. So people tend to you know, like already we have people saying, when's your next welding course? You know, can I get on the list? And our next welding course won't be till May, and I haven't even released the dates yet, but we'll probably start a waiting list. So that's exciting, but you know, I wish we could, you know, offer more, but then again, I always say, like a good restaurant, it's okay to have a little bit of a line at the door. It means,
That's right,
you know,
that's right.
Absolutely.
and we
And a
can't
limited menu.
right. And you know, it's a safety thing too. Like we can really only have like 8 people in the welding
Yep.
course at one time, so that the teacher can make sure everybody's safe and get to everybody. And so we do our best. We can offer that 3 times a year. The LNA course, again, very popular, but limited space, because we need to make sure that people are, you know, committed, ready. They have to make sure their reading and math levels are, you know, at a 9th grade level, because the course material is challenging. And if somebody's been out of school for a while,
Right.
you know, they could be overwhelmed. So, but that's where another partnership comes into play. We work with Northeast Kingdom Learning Services. So if someone said, you know, I really want to be an LNA, but I feel like my math skills are, you know, maybe a little deficit, they can go down, take the TABE, and then they can work with the staff at NEKLS to increase their math scores. And that's just a great example of, you know, 2 resources working together.
Absolutely.
And we had them on a little while ago, and they said that the partnerships with you guys was fantastic. So I mean, I think
Right.
that's something sometimes the community doesn't see, is that there's a great partnership when it comes to education and trainings in this area for sure.
And there's more that can be done in that respect. Like I feel like we've set up, you know, a decent course schedule. We've released it 3 times a year. You know, we're filling courses. We probably run about 20 courses per session, anywhere from, you know, woodworking to crocheting, because people enjoy crocheting. You know, so actually that crocheting and knitting usually sell out. But right now, what we need to think about is, you know, people say, how do you become a plumber? How do you become an electrician? And so how do we help the people that want to get on that pathway navigate? So Michelle Tarek from NEKLS and I, we worked together last winter to talk with the Vermont Fuel Dealers Association. So that they're located in Montpelier. They're the ones that do all the trainings for the plumbing and heating industry. And basically we just, you know, kept communicating with them and saying, hi, you know, we would love to hold some trainings at the North Country Career Center. And they'd say, oh, that's, you know, really far away, and we only have 1 instructor. And, you know, and I said, no.
You're living in Newport,
yeah,
right?
and we said, no, please, if we build this, if we advertise this, there will be a response. And so they sort of had to trust us. We had to be a little bit of like salespeople here. But we ran a Nora Silver seminar, which is just a 1-day recertification course for people that are already working in the industry. And so that, like, we had 16 to 20 people, I can't remember. So that,
Wow, that's
so
great.
that's us just hosting it. You know, I
Right.
don't have to find the instructor. I don't have to learn about the curriculum. I just have to create the space. So then we said propane tech. We don't, you know, have any propane tech training in the area. It's all the way in Rutland or Williston.
Right.
So we just did that in the fall with them. And so again, around 16 people from industry came in and took the course. And this
that's
spring, it is good. And this spring we're going to do oil burner bronze training. So again, that's another, like, say if someone was working as a helper type at Fred's Plumbing and Heating, Netto's Wrights, you
Right.
know, one of our local plumbers, they would put that helper forward and say, you should do this training. And then they would, you know, get an industry recognized certification. So I guess the point of this whole story is that if Michelle and I, you know, could truly, you know, structure this just the way we wanted, someone would come in off the street to the Career Center or to NEKLS and say, how do you become a plumber? And we would create a pathway where, if their skills were deficit, Michelle and NEKLS would be helping them, you know, increase their skills, so that when they were reading through the curriculum for oil burner bronze, they would not be overwhelmed.
Right.
You know, so create some support systems for the math and the reading involved with the certifications. And then maybe create some partnerships so that some of our local plumbing and heating folks would, you know, welcome in,
Right.
you know, some job shadowing, or, you know, just because when you get training in isolation without any hands-on experience, sometimes you just sort of,
Right.
it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't click.
Doesn't connect as much.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I think creating partnerships with local businesses and creating support for people that are, concerned that their skills are deficit and they won't be able to, actually attain the certification.
I think the progression is where it's at. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said,
Right.
starting somewhere. And in saying that, any success stories that you've seen where progression has happened?
Right, yeah, we were talking about this earlier, and I mean, there's probably more than I realize. I'm not sure if everyone, comes back in and gives me a high five, but I did have that happen yesterday, and it was pretty exciting. We had a person who, she was kind of, probably a little bit older, and she just was having that moment of like, I need to hit the reset button, like I need a new career. And so she said, I want to do the LNA program. And so she got right in there, got her testing at NEK-TV, jumped through all the hoops, got into the LNA program, worked as an LNA for 2-3 years. And now she's heard about the M&A program, which is a new endorsement from the Board of Nursing. So this, our Career Center actually is one of the only 2 in the state that is authorized to give this training, and that's really because, and I always credit her, but Rosemary Mayhew of Bel Air, she's a really big advocate for creating, and I'll explain quickly, the M&A is a medication nursing assistant. So that's an LNA with an extra endorsement that can give meds on a level 2. So it's a big help for an RN who's getting stuck behind a medication cart and not able to give the care to the patients. So it educates the LNA so that they can work under the supervision of an RN so that they can distribute certain meds to stable patients.
Wow, that's
So anyway,
fantastic.
Gail's on this path now. So she's
Nice.
thrilled, absolutely thrilled. Our M&A program starts on January 23rd. We have 5 students. We can take as many as 8. I think the slots are all spoken for. It's getting very close, but this is going to. I think this is kind of the next big like healthcare sort of push is to certify more LNAs to be MNAs.
Well, with the shortage in nursing,
Right.
it would only make sense to try to take away some of the working, and so the RNs can do more hands-on.
Right, and in New Hampshire, this is an endorsement. There's about 500 MNAs in the state of New Hampshire, and so when we looked to start this program, I actually went to White Mountain Community College because they offer this training, and they were very helpful about showing me, these are the materials you need to get your course off the ground, and then we visited some nursing homes that actually have that position in place to learn more.
That's wonderful.
Fantastic.
And it just makes so much sense, the whole collaboration,
Right.
because we as providers often have that. Somebody, I'd like to be a propane operator. How do I do that?
Right.
And you look it up and I'm like, well, you could go to Rutland. It's once a week, for
know.
8 weeks. And,
It is confusing.
And so they just don't really know. And it's just so nice to know that all of this is coming together.
Right.
Right.
And there is the whole pathway.
We need
It's
that
the
because
pathway.
it confuses me sometimes. People call me
Right.
up and they ask for forklift training, and I just honestly, it's very hard to find.
Yeah.
It's out of like the Associated General Contractors, and I've put in emails, dead end kind of
Yeah.
emails where I'm like, how do we get forklift training like once a
Yeah.
year even in the Northeast Kingdom? So
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
yeah.
So,
I think the next question is, we just started touching on it. If I need training, what do I need to do to get it to happen?
Well, I really appreciate phone calls and emails. I had a nice phone call email with Lisa St. Marie from the Department of Health yesterday, and she said, hey, we need to renew our BLS, basic life support for healthcare workers. What do you have going on? And so, that just motivates me to say, hey, let's organize this, and then I can reach out to people. Sometimes I anticipate those needs and I get it organized in the course schedule, but sometimes there's things that come up that people say, hey, by the way, this training would be important. I had another phone call about EMP training for I think that's for lead-based paint, landlords need this training, and this training hasn't happened in our area for over 3 years.
Wow.
And I went back through my emails, realized I'd hit a dead end this question had been asked previously. I realized I hit a dead end, so it was good to get the call. And again, I was like, okay, let's bring this to the top of the list. Let's start making some more phone calls.
So once the brochure is out, it would be a good idea for people to check the website, because
Yeah.
if
And-
something like that comes up, are you able to
Yes.
sometimes add it to that semester?
And I would say check the website too, because as I am sure of courses that are going to be running in the spring and summer, I'll update the website.
Oh, okay.
Like, for example, I already know the date for the QuickBooks class this summer. So I didn't put this in here.
Yeah.
I could have, but I didn't,
Yeah.
because,
Right.
the brochure can only be so big, but it is on the website.
Oh, good.
So
So if I'm an
Great.
employer, then I just call you up and say, I've got a need for whatever.
we're working on something for Built by Newport as well. We have some program logic control trainers, which I know doesn't make a lot of sense to people that don't work in industry. They don't make a ton of sense to me, but basically if you're working on like an assembly line of some sort and something goes wrong in production, you can troubleshoot. You can identify where the problem happened. You can hopefully hit some buttons and make things move again. So anyway, I have people that can actually speak this language. Obviously, I can't, but
They can actually do it.
but yeah. So we have done this training for Tivoli. So again, I kept putting it in the brochure to remind people like we can do this. And so Built by Newport has contacted us, and we're hoping that we can do the same for them.
Great.
Yeah.
Gwen, is it-
Relationships just keep growing. and
Yeah.
growing.
Is there anything that you think that maybe people need to know that they may not know out there? And
I think maybe they need to know that we do have more funding than people might realize. Like, there's more options. Like, if people looked at our course and they were like, oh, I want to take woodworking, but it's, $325. Like, I actually have written that into our Department of Labor grant that we get every year for adult technical education. So if somebody came to me and said, I really need these woodworking skills, I'm hoping to do this, this, and this with these skills, then we do have tuition assistance money that we give out pretty liberally. We do ask that people apply for VSAC first, to see if they're eligible. But, we don't want to just assume that, everybody has, $325 to take a woodworking course, but, it could still be very meaningful for them.
Absolutely.
That's really great to know.
Develop some skills.
Yeah, so call us. I mean, if something looks good, but you're not sure if you can afford it, I think it's worth calling us, and we can talk you through some options.
Great.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Anything else you think we haven't asked you? Or
Gosh, I'm not sure.
if
We've covered a lot. I
not-
feel like I've talked a lot.
That's why we're
exactly what we're here for.
Hopefully I haven't talked too quickly.
No, I think what we'll do is we'll make sure that people understand that you're a phone call away.
Right.
And I'm sure that your number will be up here, and we want to thank you for coming. And again, as for a partnership, we couldn't ask for better partners in the
Good.
Career Center
Thank you.
with CWS and with the employers that we work with. I mean, there's never a time that an employer says, what do you think about that? I don't call you up and say, hey, Gwen, this employer's got a question. Can you work with it?
Yeah.
And I kind of push it off, and you guys have been a great job.
Oh, thank you. I
Doing
mean,
great with that part.
we
of
do
it.
our best. There's
Yeah.
a lot of moving parts, though.
Yes,
So it's
of
like
course there is.
the instructor, the this and that. But if everything can come together, and usually we can make it happen.
Yeah, you've done a wonderful job
Thank you.
bringing it together.
Thank you.
Again, we want to thank you for coming,
Okay.
and we look forward to our partnership in
Great.
years to come.
Great.
Thank you, Gwen.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks.